Get the word out. It's the nerd out. That's what we're gonna call it. You like that? I'm gonna start it like that.
I do like that. We should start a song.
Yeah, we should definitely start a song. What is up? OSP Fam, it's your boy Shaun Q, my partner, like always.
Jay Roman.
Together we are OSP, and we have a special guest joining us from That Geek Show, the man himself, Mr. Erik Lucas. What is up, buddy?
Hello, guys. Thank you. Appreciate the invite. Finally get to be on the show.
Absolutely, it's one of those long-time listeners, first-time caller.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
I'm just gonna get my question. I'll take the answer off the air. Thank you. I love the show. Bye.
Yeah. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I just have a 4-part question. So
don't kill me, man. Like, what are you talking about? Just keep going.
Right. So when those guys call Stephen A. Smith, Stephen, hey, big fan, love the show. Not gonna take up much of your time. Real quick, 20-minute question.
I'll take my answer out there. Thank you. Love you guys.
Yeah. So we decided we wanted to do a little nerd out. You know how Jay Roman likes to get on his kick. We started talking about nerdy shit. He goes ham, and I'm down to go ham with him. So we were doing kind of a Marvel DCU deep dive. He's whipping out pops. Look at that. Zombie Venom pop. Wow. That's happening as we speak. I'm rocking my Marvel shirt. You rocking your Marvel shirt? Jay Roman's got his. What you got? More than a fan with the Avengers. Look at Erik Lucas. All right.
I got the band shirt on. It's got all the movies on it.
Wow.
Oh, I've seen that. I like that shirt.
Oh, that guy. Okay, I got the encyclopedia in the back, like a weirdo. Shout out to moms.
My walls need stuff, man. I just moved. I got to figure out what to put there. Yeah.
Oh wow. Thanos on the
on the ship. Yeah, that thing's huge.
We're nerding the fuck out right now. So we had to invite our geek friend to jump in with us. But first, let's get into some stuff that's popping right now. We're not gonna do a real what's popping. I just want to talk about some stuff with sports really quick. Since we last recorded, since we last spoke, and you know this, Jay, we live in LA in Orange County. We are surrounded by Dodger fans, and once again, the Houston Astros are just pissing off Dodger fans. So if you haven't seen it yet, it happened like a week ago on our time. The cheating ass Astros were playing the Dodgers, and some shit went down. And Joe Kelly, the pitcher for the Dodgers, he did what we expect every pitcher to do. He stuck a motherfucker out and he talked a little shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He talked a little shit. He called him some bitches. You know, a couple of words were exchanged. Mm-hmm. Benches were cleared. And everybody was a little upset. And so he got suspended 8 games.
That's a lot for a 60-game season.
Yeah, it's like 22 games in a regular season, yeah.
Yeah, is what it was. So from what I've seen, he's not suspended yet because he's still playing because they're appealing it. So they're waiting for the last appeal to go through.
Right.
But the Dodger fans were losing their shit. They're like, he can't talk shit to those cheating-ass Astros. They fucking cheated. We should be able to talk some shit. That's what it sounds like at bars I've been to. Madness. Lucas, are you a Angel fan or a Dodger fan?
Neither.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You're a Padres fan, aren't you? Are you? That's right.
Okay. All right. That's acceptable.
We'll allow it.
We're the lovable losers of the league. That's what we are. Although we're doing good now. We're good this year for some reason.
Dude,
I don't know
none of that matters. None of that
Well,
matters.
haven't they been on the come up for a few years now? They like slowly getting there.
Yeah. Hosmer, Machado, Tatis Jr. Finally, we have a roster that can compete. Yes.
There you go.
In this 60-game season, which is
Yeah.
tailor-made for our Yankees.
Oh yeah, you guys are just gonna freaking win the whole thing. It's ridiculous.
In my opinion, look at that. I didn't even see it. It said that. Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
In my opinion, the only team that should win is a team like the Yankees, because when you have so many championships, to win a shortened season championship, it doesn't affect anything. People are like, oh, we got 28, 29, doesn't matter. But if a team but if a team that's never won ever, if they win it, that sucks because there's still an asterisk and it wasn't a full season. You don't want that to happen. So I'd rather see somebody like us and like, they won another one, doesn't matter. They have 28 and a half or whatever.
28 and a half.
Right? I'd rather see that happen. Anyway, that's what's going on with the Dodgers. To stay in sports, I don't know if you know, if you saw this, I put it in the page. So one of the rappers that's out right now that we are a fan of that's currently doing it, and there's only like 4 of them. Because rap is trash right now. One of them is J. Cole. J. Cole, who made the joke before, he's a pretty good basketball player. Apparently, he's kind of decent. And he was shooting around with Master P, and Master P put a video up on Twitter saying J. Cole wants to try out for the NBA. and the Pistons were like, "You want to try out? Come try out for the Pistons," and it might happen.
Really?
Yes. Now I don't know if you remember, Master P had a tryout for. He made like the practice squad or tryout for 2 different teams. Never made the actual team, but he had a tryout because he was decent. So for him to get J. Cole to try out, it's kind of fitting in passing that weird basketball playing rap torch or whatever the fuck it is.
Well, Common says all the time he would have gone pro had he not hurt his knee. He would have tried.
Right.
Now I really got to see Common play because I can imagine his tall, lanky ass just like floating around the court. You know?
Well, I mean, you saw Just Right. He played ball in Just Right.
Yeah, you're right.
J. Cole, they showed a video of him just putting up threes, and he was wetting. But the reality of J. Cole playing for any basketball team is very, very low.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know this. This nigga's 35 years old.
I mean, yeah,
I thought J. Cole was still in his 20s. Come on. You're 35. You're about to walk on. He said he played some high school and a little bit in college. You're like, dude, that was 15 years ago. Like, you're not about to get. I mean, I like the publicity part. He was at the dunk contest last year, and it was cool because he helped somebody with the shot.
Yeah.
And he went to dunk it, and he saw he almost made it. And everybody's like, if J. Cole had made that dunk, what? There's tons of motherfuckers who can dunk and shoot threes. You're not getting in the NBA like that, Playboy. Have you never heard of the G League? There's 47,000 motherfuckers waiting to play in the NBA.
Yeah, but it's a sideshow, you know. That's what I look at it as.
It's definitely a publicity thing. So I mean, I think it'd be dope if to have like a J. Cole Pistons jersey. I'm from Chicago, and I wouldn't wear a Pistons jersey if Jordan was in one of them. So I'll never wear it.
I feel it's like when your team has Russell Wilson out every year for training camp. So that's the same thing, right?
Who has? Oh yeah, oh.
Yeah, you got Russell Wilson always shows up to Yankees fucking training camp and is hitting home runs. And everybody's like, bro,
if you just switch sports, you want to leave the concussions behind.
Yeah.
Well, we know that those careers a lot of times, mix. We saw it a bunch of times, and in fact, John Elway was a Yankee originally. He played. He sort of played as a Yankee before he played as a Bronco. I mean, he didn't play, but he was on the Yankee squad technically.
Yeah.
So.
There's tons of players who get signed to it. Like Pat Mahomes, didn't he get signed to? He got signed to somebody and ended up playing football, which makes sense because now he's rich. Now he owns a baseball team.
Yeah.
If we're staying in sports, that was some of the dopest shit I've ever seen somebody do with their money. They're like, you just got the biggest contract in NFL history. What are you gonna do? He's like, buy the baseball team. Oh.
Yeah.
Shit.
Wait. Whoa. Oh, wait. But you're only 23, right? Like you can't buy that. You can't buy it like that yet. Or 24.
Dude, that is the most baller thing, to show a city that you represent that city. If you want fans to cheer you for life, you are at that team. You're like, all right, I signed here, so you mean I'm gonna be here at least another 10 more years? I might as well go ahead and buy the goddamn baseball team.
Well, the thing about it is most people don't do that till they're done playing, because then they have all the money stacked and they get a group of people. He's like, nope, I'm gonna do this now.
He's like, I got it.
He's definitely the youngest one. Like it was pretty startling even when Rodgers did it like 4 years ago when he bought into the Milwaukee Bucks. And I was like, bro, you're still playing. What do you do? You're all right.
Yeah. Anything, you might need that money if you keep breaking collarbones.
Those guys are paid for life, though.
I'm gonna buy out my share of the Bucks, man. My leg hurts. I'm gonna need some.
Well, since we kind of started talking about the football guys, Shaun, you clued me into some stuff going on with a special star, a superstar.
Are you talking about what Vince McMahon had to do with his XFL for the second time? For the second time.
I hope it's out of his hands forever.
So
because he's got to stop.
This is my thing with the XFL. Is you remember we went to the first games back 20 years ago, and then he made the comeback. I remember I was bartending, and the comeback, they had it all set up perfectly. It was during the offseason of NFL, so there's no competition. They had a deal with ESPN. The games were being nationally televised. They had good young players. But then COVID-19 hits, and like every other sport, they took a hit, and they were a relatively new sport. So there was basically no chance they could survive.
Right.
If the NFL itself has to cancel all its preseason games, basketball's in a goddamn bubble, baseball, tired teams are getting fucking sick. It's hard to start some new shit, and then that hit, and you stay successful. So he filed for bankruptcy, and then his old friend, like the son he never had, shows up. It's like, Vince, I will buy. The Rock shows up to Vince. It's like, I will buy the XFL for whatever cash I have in my back left pocket.
And a bottle of his tequila.
And a bottle. It's like, you get a bottle of Terramana and the $15 million I got in my back left pocket. Vince was like, sold, American. So The Rock owning the XFL to me does a lot of things. One, I don't know if you finished Ballers, like I told you to, you probably haven't, but I feel like Ballers imitates life in that The Rock, Dwayne Johnson has put this vibe into the universe. Like, I'm gonna do these things because he played football for Miami. He's been a big fan of football till he got hurt and started wrestling. He wants to be involved with football in some way, and the fact that he bought this league is perfect because as of right now, he's the biggest star in the world. Also, he really can't fail when it comes to putting his name on something.
No.
Regardless of what you watch, the Titan games, even people went and saw the video, the Rampage. Like, it doesn't matter. Whatever he puts his name on, it works. So between that, his football connections, his movie connections, his Hollywood connections, his wrestling connections, I think the league is going to be more entertaining than it ever was just because of who's in charge.
Right.
And The Rock seems like one of those guys who's smart enough to get the right people around him to make it work.
Right.
So I feel like that's a great thing. They just take the whole year off. XFL rebrands, comes back 2021, hard as shit. I think that would be dope as fuck. I think it's a great move on his part. And he bought it, like I said, cash. He pulled a Randy Moss. Remember what I said when Randy Moss had a...
bought the racing team?
Well, no. Randy Moss, when Randy Moss was still playing in Minnesota, he had an accident. He ran over a crossing guard with his car.
What?
And
I don't feel like I remember this.
Yes,
okay.
Randy Moss ran over a crossing guard with his car. He goes to court. And this is the peak when everybody was like, Randy Moss,
I remember this now.
Some bitch. And they were like, he had to pay $100,000. That's what he had to pay. And this motherfucker pulled it out in cash. In the most baller shit. Like, what? How much that bitch want? Okay, my face. I got a game.
I remember that.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's pretty much how The Rock bought the XFL. How much you want for it? Give me the briefcase.
I got a problem with Vince. How do you? And I understand it's a separate business, but when you have as many billions as Vince McMahon has, how do you file for bankruptcy? Just cover the costs.
It's a bad business venture.
That's that rich shit. That's you have so much money. He could have had 10 XFLs, paid for all the expenses, dissolved them without filing bankruptcy. But because he files bankruptcy, he doesn't have to pay all those.
He doesn't
millions.
have to pay anything.
It's like
America, baby.
I want to do that, but I only have a few thousand in debt. So it's like, I don't know.
What you do is you turn that 1,000 into $1 million worth of debt, and you file for bankruptcy, and you just go up on $1 million.
Score, and then you go around and do another business. I'll take it. You know what? I'm gonna do that.
That's what Silicon Valley is every day.
That's true.
And then you start from scratch. I got this app where you hold it up to your balls and it wipes it for you. Oh, it failed? It didn't work? Bankruptcy.
Bankruptcy. Now I'm going to dissolve. I'm going to I'm going to move things around. We're going to reorganize. We're going to call it something else. And we're going to get another round of Series A funding.
Pretty much. That's how it works.
Gotta love it. Got to love it.
I like that. So, you know what? Let's get into what we came in here for. Let's dive into the MCU. There's a lot of shit happening. Our friend Erik Lucas did the Comic-Con from home. HomeCon.
Comic-Con. I always go like this when they say Comic-Con with quotes at home.
Comic-Con at home. Yeah.
There's no actual comics. Is that what?
There's no actual
Pretty
con.
much.
It's just watching panels on your computer.
So the Comic-Con at home.
Go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I got nothing.
Now, Erik, you saw the panel. See, here's one thing about Comic-Con that people may not know about me, or maybe they do. When I go to Comic-Con, I don't go to a single panel. I used to work for New York Comic-Con. I worked there for 4 years. I never saw a single panel. When I've been to LA Comic-Con 5 of the last 6 years, whatever. Panels just aren't my thing. The only time I ever stopped and watched was when Stan Lee was talking to, is it Michael Colton, the guy who plays Luke Cage? When he was on stage with them, they were talking. Oh, and him and Frank Miller. Him and Frank Miller talking to each other. So the only time I stopped, but it was like on a main stage, and you just were there automatically. So I've never gone to the panels. So what's so bad, though, seeing it online, because it's kind of like more in your face. You're not standing in the back waiting in line. Did you not like it?
No, it just felt weird. That's all. Because I'm used to, when I see a panel like I go to Hall H or something like that. Yeah, like you're saying, you're in the back or you're in the middle of the crowd or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's, it feels, I don't know. It's just something about being in person. Like we all talked about this whole thing this year with this kind of stuff. Like it's a different vibe, and it's weird sitting at your computer and going like, okay. More than like when you're at the thing and there's the live audience can react to everything people are saying, and there's those awkward moments that maybe you can't script when you're doing a pre-recorded video for, you know, these weren't live, they were pre-recorded. So, you know, they didn't have the fan questions and things like that live. It was all pre-recorded stuff. So that's why it felt a little odd to me. That's all.
Oh, I didn't realize it was also pre-recorded.
No, they were all pre-recorded, yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
That kills the whole vibe. I've been
Right.
to 2 Comic-Cons, and one was like on the Sunday, and I was walking with my boy Jake. We're like, yo, let's go check out the Cleveland show panel.
Yeah.
I'd never been to a fucking panel.
Yeah.
I thought it was dope. They showed the episode. I got to see that Cleveland show was, you know, a lot of black people, but mainly the main guy was a white guy.
Yeah.
And then, they were like, if you stay here, there's a Sons of Anarchy panel. And I didn't watch the show, but I knew Katie Seagal was on there. And that's when I was like, oh, I got a question. And the whole thing, like standing in line, waiting to ask a question.
At the mic, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, hey, so I got a question. So if you're doing this, and Christina Applegate has her TV shows and movies, Ed O'Neill has Modern Family, why can Bud Bundy not get a job?
Yeah.
And everybody started laughing. I was just like, you can't, that was an experience for me. She was like, I don't know what's up with David. I feel like he's doing something. But it was just like a cool moment vibe that wasn't recorded that you miss out on when you have Comic-Con at home.
I thought they were gonna at least do it live. That it's now that I know it was recorded, because I got the links and I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I don't go do them in person. It may be easier, because what I usually do is I just follow up on YouTube later. I'm like, okay, I know they're gonna be talking about something I want to see or not, and then I'll YouTube it and check it out, because especially like with Disney Plus now, because they put a lot of that stuff on there later, so I'm gonna watch like that. But now that I know it wasn't even live, I'm even happier I didn't bother. Like, when I go to Comic-Cons, I go for the collectibles. I go for the comics I can only get there.
Right, same.
So, and so I'm basically like a DJ digging in the crates. You know what I mean? I'm just box after box after box, you know, vendor after vendor after vendor, and then I try to get some stuff signed and all that. So that's my experience at cons. The panels, I'm like, oh, okay, sure. You know, that's kind of cool. That's it.
I kind of plan mine out different. Like if I'm going to the main Comic-Con in San Diego, which was this one was supposed to be, it'll be like, they have a thing called preview night, which is like Wednesday. They open the hall for like 4 hours at night just for like a preview, so you can go buy stuff. So I try to get all my shopping done in that little 4 hour window, and then the rest of the convention I try to go to panels and stuff like that. So if I don't do preview night, then it's a little harder, because then it's like trying to mix and match what days I'm going to run to the floor and try to grab stuff. So it makes it a little easier. Yeah.
Do you usually go to your cons with somebody?
Oh yeah. Me and my girlfriend usually go, and then I have a whole team. Like when we're doing, for the That Geek Show, we usually plan it out. I'll have several members go to different panels. They'll report on them, kind of like what we did for this. People watch different things, so
of course.
Yeah.
I usually go by myself, so maybe that's the difference. Like I'm not having to think about someone else's,
you need a team,
what
man.
they want to do. Yeah.
And it's also good when you have a team, because then you can be like, hey, bro, I want to get this pop, but I'm going to be in this line. Can you go get that pop, and I'll get you something over here? Can we trade off?
I mean, I've met up with friends there, but never planned to go together to where we can do that kind of planning. You know, we show up there, like, okay, and we go follow each other around. And then someone inevitably is like, I'm going to go this way. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go this way. So,
yeah.
All right.
That's usually how it works.
You put out that somebody, you were talking about She-Hulk. You heard?
Oh yeah. Oh, we're gonna get right into that. Okay.
I don't see why not. Well, you want to talk? We want to talk about the women of the MCU in general, but I don't know if you want to start with the because you had a theory about women's empowerment in the MCU.
Well, there's a big. I mean, that's kind of an episode by itself, but we can get a little bit into it. The fact that the idea of She-Hulk is coming. Okay, so Angie Harmon wants to play She-Hulk. She's been a fan of her forever. Right, because she's played a lawyer, played a cop, whatever in her shows and all that, and she's just a big fan. So she wants to be that person. She wants to be Jennifer, right? Who is She-Hulk in like non-She-Hulk form. So that's cool, and I thought that'd be good. And some people were saying that'd be a good lineup because her age kind of fits Ruffalo's age.
Her and Mark Ruffalo are both kind of older. Yeah, Mark Ruffalo is. I mean, I don't know how Angie Harmon is 47.
That's it. I feel like she looks older, but hey, whatever.
White women age differently. She immediately, when you told me about it, I thought she might be too old. Then I realized you don't have to be young to be a CGI character Hulk.
Well, that too, but also a lot of the MCU people like Tony Stark and Cap Evans isn't old, but Ruffalo's old. He plays an old Banner. You know what I mean? Right. So it was fitting with him because she's his cousin. So there's that.
But I guess the problem will be the future, though. Like, how many movies do they plan to do with her playing She-Hulk?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
I don't think
exactly.
they're doing
And
movies, though, right?
yeah.
They're just doing Disney Plus stuff.
Disney
for
Plus,
She-Hulk?
but there was a hint that maybe she'd make it into the next Avengers film. Like when I say the next, I mean the ladies one. You know what I mean? Because there's supposed to be like a
Okay.
ladies casted one where there was a little bit of I guess an Easter egg or a shout to them in Endgame where they all A-Force came out. You know what I mean? Like, and I love that scene. I love it. All the badass women coming out. Because if you see, they fight just as good as any of the men.
Oh yeah.
The thing about the powerful women, and why I said this is a whole episode in itself, is because the MCU is not afraid to put powerful women out there. Granted, it took them quite some time to finally get someone like Captain Marvel out.
Right.
So the big deal with Captain Marvel is, and it was from the get-go, is that she is so powerful. She's more powerful than any Avenger, except for maybe Thor. We haven't seen them really challenge each other. So what I was saying about that is there's women out there who I've recently talked to about this who I was surprised. They were like, no, I didn't like her. She was too much. She was stronger than everybody. I was like, that's kind of the point.
Right.
They're like, yeah, but her powers aren't really hers. They were given to her. I'm like, so is everyone else's. Tony Stark wears a suit. So like I didn't agree with the points they were making, and then I just came straight out. I was like, you have a problem with powerful women as a woman. Like, what's up? Do you not believe in yourself? I was antagonizing them. I was like, you don't believe in that you can be that strong and you can be better than a man? That's what you're saying. See, you're brainwashed that a man is always better than you no matter what. See,
The patriarchy.
So but we started getting into the politics of things, and the thing about Brie Larson, they didn't like what she said. And I said, okay, the problem with that is she reacted to the men talking crap about Captain Marvel being so powerful because they are self conscious about it. Like, oh my gosh, she can't be more powerful than the guys. Why not? She's from space. You know what I mean? Everybody from space is more powerful than us on Earth. That's just how it is in the comics. Something like that. So it's one of those things. I actually wish that they would have done a more Ms. Marvel arc into Captain Marvel. I wanted to see more of that trajectory versus straight into Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because Ms. Marvel was a badass for a long time, and then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but then she's Captain Marvel. That took a long time to get there. So the fact that they didn't put that origin stuff, it's like, okay, but who knows? And the next one's supposed to be coming out in a couple years, so we'll see. And hopefully, Rogue shows up as rumored.
She better, man. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know.
Anyway, so let's not really get into the powerful women. I feel like that's another episode that I want to bring a woman on for.
Right. I can tell you right now, nobody hates women more than women hate women. And that's
a strong opinion.
Dude, I was behind the bar last night, and this guy was like, man, I love that it's a guy and a girl back here. I was like, that's the best way it should be. Appeal to everybody. You have a guy, you have a girl. Because usually when you have like two girls behind the bar, one of them don't like the other one. Shit doesn't really work out. We will definitely get into that. We will have a female geek on.
But Eric, do you like She-Hulk? Have you read those?
Yeah, no, she looks great. Yeah, no, I'm all down for that. I don't know about the actress. I just looked her up while you guys were talking about her, but
Gotcha.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, casting is gonna be.
Didn't even say the whole thing. So Angie Harmon wants to play her. Supposedly, Alison Brie from Glow is already casted.
That was the one that
Yeah.
which I'm fine with because she is the right age and she can look young and she's
but she's so demure though. She seems so fragile.
Yeah, but so does Angie Harmon.
Have you seen?
But if you see Angie Harmon, she's like ripped.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's like old lady ripped. Well, they're 10 years apart. Alison Brie's like 37. Angie Harmon's 47. So I guess it depends on the future they want, how long and how many movies they want, and like I said, white women age differently. So who knows?
Alison Brie can act too. Like I don't know if you guys are current on the movies this year, but there was a horror movie that came out called Horse Girl. I don't know if you guys saw it.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it was one a lot of people missed because of COVID. Obviously, it was going to be an indie darling, and then it just went straight to VOD. No, but she plays
where can you find it?
I believe it's on Netflix. Netflix bought it. Yeah.
Okay, because I've seen a lot of horror movies this year because I get to be home.
Yeah, no, it's a psychological horror. Like, I'm not going to spoil it, but she basically plays this manic girl who's you don't know if she's crazy or if she's telling the truth until the end, which is the spoiler part of it. But it's like the whole movie it's like a slow descent into madness. She thinks like she's being abducted. She thinks she's her own grandmother and she's a time traveling person. Like everyone around her's like, you're insane. Like it's that kind of movie.
Gotcha.
And you could just
Horse Girl?
Horse Girl, yeah.
I'm checking. It's probably in my queue already. I don't even realize I got so many things in my queue.
It's good. So if you want to see her acting gravitas, that's one to check out.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Horse Girl. Got it. Okay. I don't know. I don't know much about She-Hulk, but I can see either of them doing it.
I love her, man.
At the
I
end of the
have
day,
a
it all
bunch of her
depends on who
comics.
writes
Sorry.
it. No, it just depends on who writes it and what they do with it. Because you could have the best actor or actress in a trash movie, and it doesn't matter.
Oh, we've seen that many, many times.
Right? We've had 3 Hulks in the last like 10
I mean,
years.
we were talking about before we started recording. I just recently rewatched Swordfish, and I was like, yeah, Halle Berry's looking good, but damn, this movie is only just entertaining. There's nothing really cool about it. It's just fun to watch. But you have Jackman, you have Travolta, you have Barry, and you have a couple others I can't remember the names right now. But you have Cheeto. You know, I mean, you have great actors in there who have done great stuff and gone on to be, you know, in the MCU in whatever ways that we're fans of. But like that movie, it's awful. It's just cliche. It's just the same thing over and over.
That movie comes from an era when it was, if I remember right, that was the early 2000s, late 90s, right? So that movie came from the era of like, what names are available that we have signed right now, and let's just put them in a movie. It doesn't matter what the movie is because people will pay for stars. Whereas nowadays, nobody's just going to pay for a movie because Tom Cruise is in it, as we saw with the new Mummy reboot. Did terribly. You know, it's got to be a movie that's actually it, and you know, it's got some substance to it, and then we'll place and pick our actors who we want to put in it. So
I feel like studios used to do that the way record labels still do that, where they'd be like, "Yo, who do we have on?
Who's on the label? Yeah.
All right, you do a verse on this song.
Can you go feature on this? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's even worse with music though, because music you don't have to be in the same room anymore.
Right. And that's what sucks because you're like, "Yo, Nicki and Cardi did a song together." You're like, not in the same room.
Not really.
You just slap the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
No, the studio was like, "Go do a verse on this song."
Yep.
You wrote in there, J. Roman, one of my favorite. I want to say probably my favorite cartoon of all time, Rick and Morty. One of the writers, Jeff Loveness, just got signed to do what?
Right, Ant-Man 3.
That's just
now. I gotta say that news is some of the news I've been kind of like keeping track of and building up. There's nothing new on it that I found, so I'm not sure if it's confirmed, official, it's going to happen. It's happening, but that's what it was before that he had signed up because the director's already back. He's already signed back up. What the hell is his name? Who plays Ant-Man? Rudd.
Mr. Rudd.
He's back. So a lot of the characters are back, and then I saw that. I was like, oh, that could be very entertaining. Very entertaining because we've seen what's really cool about the MCU is they take risks with some of these movies. You look at Waititi,
yeah,
you know,
Waititi,
for Ragnarok, you know, which I kind of don't like in a lot of ways, but I understand what he's doing. And then he's doing another one, and you know, so I like that they're doing these kind of funky things with certain characters because it makes me feel like, okay, you can't always be this serious. And I've even talked about in the Avengers. You know what I mean? Like it kind of gives you that little relief, just like a comic used to do. Sometimes the comics get very serious, but
that's the genius of what Kevin Feige did is he did movies by like not by committee but by director. It said like here's your structure, do whatever you want with it, just stay within the parameters. And so guys like Joss Whedon with the original Avengers, that's why we got all the witty dialogue because that's what Joss Whedon does. That's what he punches up scripts, and we wouldn't have. Who would have thought a comic like Guardians of the Galaxy would have worked? But we got a weird guy, that James Gunn, that did a movie called what was it, Slither? Yeah, that was a really gory cheesy horror B movie. And they're like, "Hey man, you got Guardians of the Galaxy," and everybody's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then we got gold. We got gold.
And he brought over the actor from Slither, right? If I'm correct.
Michael Rooker.
Yeah, Rooker.
Yeah.
Because Rooker was badass, and so Slither is so disgusting.
Yeah,
it's so good. Have you seen it, Sean?
I have. I've seen it. It's gross. They also did it with Ryan Coogler. They got Ryan Coogler. He had done Fruitvale Station, and like we're doing Black Panther. Let's get this dude, and it was a perfect fucking match.
Oh yeah.
So I think what he's doing with picking directors and giving them their own platform, I think that's brilliant, and it's working. I don't see it failing anytime soon. I wasn't a fan of Taika Waititi. I didn't know who he was. I saw parts of What We Do in the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows is comedy gold. That is a perfect
part
movie.
of the movie, and I was like, that dude's kind of funny. And I personally, I love what he did with Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, I've been a fan of him since. So now when I see him on like The Mandalorian, when I saw Jojo Rabbit,
I was gonna say, did you see Jojo Rabbit? That was
fucking incredible. Such a beautiful movie. And I was like, man, I'm a Taika Waititi fan. Like that dude is hilarious. And the best I've seen is they had the thing. I don't know if it's on Disney Plus or where I saw it, where they have like all the directors from most of the MCU movies. So it's like what's his name? Jon Favreau, Ryan Coogler, Taika Waititi,
The Russos.
Russo brothers.
Oh, are you talking about where they did the round table where they all sat
Yeah,
down?
the round table.
Yeah, it's
I like
really
that
good.
because Taika's just, to me, he's just, was he like on TV somewhere? He's like,
Is that Disney Plus? I gotta check that
it
out.
should be Disney.
I'm pretty sure it's Disney Plus. Yeah.
I
I thought I saw all the other extra stuff already. Okay, I'll check it out.
Oh man, it's dope. Just to have that table of all the directors, and like Jon Favreau, same thing. You get these directors and you're like, yo, we like you here. What if you do one of these? I think it's working out perfectly. I think Kevin Feige is a fucking genius. But speaking of his genius, there's a I saw on That Geek Show, on that last episode, you guys talked about New Mutants.
A little bit.
So
they talked about it, and I kind of shut them down.
now, why are you not a fan of this concept for this movie?
I have gone on record in the last 4 years saying this movie will never come out, and I haven't been proven wrong yet. So every time.
Now, why? Why won't it ever come out?
I was because every time a movie gets pushed back and gets pushed back and gets pushed back, and eventually it just falls off. So that's what I thought was going to happen. But then COVID happened, and then Disney Plus happened. Even at the panel, these fools were still like, "Yeah, we'll see you in theaters." I'm like, "You will not." No. I looked right in that camera and I was like, "I wish you were live because I would tell you to your face, you're liars right now. Yeah. This movie is not ever going to see a theater ever. Like the best way you're going to see it is on Disney Plus or VOD. That's my opinion.
And that would be pretty dope. I wouldn't mind that. Now, tell me this though: is there more to it than the last couple of years? Have you known? Has it already been ready for 4 years or something?
No, it's gone through major rewrites and reshoots. They've reshot the movie 3 times.
Okay, because I like the current look of it.
Yeah.
Although it's a little bit darker than I would have liked, because if you read the New Mutants, it's not that dark. It's actually very light.
Well, the funny thing is it went through iterations where originally it was dark and it was a rated R film, but then when Disney bought Fox, they reshot it for the 3rd time. And we're like, we're not gonna let you guys do this. You got to take all this out and take all this out and redo this and yada yada yada. So I just think already off the bat it's going to be a nerfed movie, which a lot of people trailers always look great. Let us not forget Suicide Squad. But I just don't have any faith in this movie, and I hope it proves me wrong. Like my partner Gio was saying, he's really looking forward to it, and he wants to see what because he likes the Fox X-Men style.
Right.
Which is fine. But again, I just think this is a Frankenstein movie that was destined to fail from the beginning. So
well, I can tell you this, from every piece of trash comes something that they can use. So even if it ends up being a trash movie, there was a quote from Kevin Feige they asked him about, and he said he had an idea. And if the guy in charge has an idea, they got to make it fucking happen. And his idea was, because Jon Snow and Robb Stark from Game of Thrones are both in the Eternals.
Right.
The idea is to have, when they meet up with whoever Tyrion Lannister played in Avengers, the guy who creates the weapons.
The dwarf, yeah.
Right. Have them meet up and somehow incorporate Arya Stark's character from New Mutants. He's like, I want this somehow to be a scene with the 4 of them in one scene. He goes, I don't care how you make it happen, but if you make it happen, just off nerddom itself, to have 4 big members of Game of Thrones in a Marvel movie, to a nerd who's in charge, it's dope.
Yeah, the only way that's going to happen is if they do Secret Wars, for sure. That's the
right.
only way.
Which,
speaking of Secret Wars, so you got to already know that Avengers 5 is already being dubbed Secret Wars.
Yes, and the Russo said they would come back for it. I did read that headline last week. Yeah,
it's kind of interesting. I'm like, okay, because they've already been kind of setting it up, but then it's like, if you're gonna do Secret Wars, what sucks? Here's what I don't like about some of the movies, and I've said this I think before, maybe just in conversation, that they're taking a lot from the comic books in the last 15 years. They're not doing a lot of the old stuff. Right. So I get that. The original Avengers, the Avengers 1 with Joss Whedon, great. They brought Loki, that's kind of how it works. Everything else is just like, okay, this is all recent. But I do not want to see a Secret Wars unless they're going to show the symbiote coming in.
That might be how they introduce it.
And I would really, really hope so, because that would be perfect. And it would make us, like, shit our pants as fans. Like, oh my gosh, like, maybe not shit our pants, but you know what I'm saying. So it's just like, Secret Wars, I think, is the perfect setup, but it's almost as if they have to wait and name it something else, because Secret Wars should be the finale part, right? Like
Secret Wars should be the Infinity War of the next saga. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know, because They're talking
10 years.
about
It's in 10 years. It should be like 2030 is when we get Secret Wars, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, and that would be dope. So my question also is though, like, which mutants are they? Because here's one thing that's been missing from all the Marvel movies on the mutants, except for Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, which Quicksilver died. But how are they going to bring this together? So that's why I don't know. There's so much freaking to Secret Wars that I feel like Disney will get it right for us to at least enjoy it. But they're gonna completely destroy it because nothing's gonna be in the right sequence, and I don't know. At least it's not Fox. At least it's not Fox.
Yes,
Thank
at least
God.
it's not Fox.
Because they destroyed Apocalypse. Apocalypse should have had Avengers in it.
So
man, I can't even get into that one. That's one of those ones that get shot into the sun.
As long as they make it bigger than they did Civil War. I still love Captain America Civil War, but I feel like the Civil War story should have expanded way past one movie or one.
I think it was great for what it is, but yeah, you're right. I want to see a two-parter, three-parter.
They did it though. That to Avengers, they made that the segue.
That's true.
So they kind of did, but everyone knows Civil War is really Avengers 3. Everyone knows that. You know what I mean?
Pretty much.
But they need to do a Secret Wars like that. Secret Wars could be separate and then connect them because we got to get Venom in that way. Because I don't know how they're gonna make this Venom meet up with this Spider-Man.
Everybody keeps saying I hate Sony right now. Like I hate that so much. Like they're really trying to force our Spider-Man into that Venom movie, and I'm just like, bro, like it's just two different things. Like you can't.
Yeah.
And
unfortunately, they have the rights to it, so they can.
I know.
It's like, no, you just should not do that.
But
do you think it'll be too much over the next few years if they shove like 7 to 10 movies / shows in our face in 2 years?
I don't think so. I think people are hungry for it. But I think one of the biggest pivotal movies coming out that's going to bridge the gap for all this is going to be Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness.
Okay.
And I think they even hinted at it last year at Comic-Con where they were saying, like, this movie is going to set up a lot in the next phase. So I think just by the title, Multiverse, you're going to be seeing a lot of different things. That's probably, in my opinion, that's probably how they're going to introduce the X-Men, to be honest, because they're going to be like, it was Earth 617, not 616, and now we're going to merge the two. You know, that's.
Oh, keep talking to me, baby. My nipples are tingling. My nipples are tingling.
His spidey nipples.
Shit.
Yeah.
I got all excited. I'm serious. I got like chills right now.
Woo!
We're gonna take a break real quick. We gotta. We'll take a break.
I'm all excited.
I don't want people to know about your hard ass nipples. We'll take a break. Keep your eyes open. Keep your ears open. We'll be right back. And we'll be back.
We're technically still recording the whole time, so we just stopped that
part. We came back. When we left you, Jay Roman was talking about his nipples.
Don't tell my daughter. She's obsessed with nipples.
He was excited about the idea of Doctor Strange, I guess, being the bridge for all the cool shit that's supposed to be introduced into all these moves we've been hearing about for years. That would be a dope segue.
So here's the thing, though. Doctor Strange now they flipped the sequence of movies. So I guess Thor's now going to come before Strange or vice versa. And so I'm wondering how that's going to work around each other.
I'm not sure. I mean, WandaVision's still coming out on schedule in the fall or in the late 2020.
But that's a show, though, right? That's the show?
It is, but that's also, they said that's going to bridge into Doctor Strange. So
yeah, so that's weird because they have to rearrange it. So I remember the question just being, how is it going to affect the chronology of the movies?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Dude, they have an
We're still waiting for Black Widow's not until November now.
Technology. They have an entire team dedicated to making sure everything you do in that MCU is in some kind of chronological order. So I'm sure they've had nothing but time to think about how they're going to put it out.
Yeah, Feige will figure it out.
Right? He'll get the last say.
Mad scientist in the whole thing.
He'll just trump that shit looking at the board. No. Move this here. Now. Release it. Go.
He actually talked. He would talk about stuff like that in interviews where like you think that's not a thing, but that is a thing. Like literally, he would tell a story where he would walk into a room when they were doing I think it was Infinity War when they were storyboarding, and the Russo said they'd have a whole wall of characters. Like they would have all the characters on the poster board, and Feige would just walk in and be like, "Oh, can we just?" And he'd take like one of the characters and put them down here, and then they go, "Yeah, oh, okay."
Nice. I like that.
Sure, boss. Yeah.
So he's always watching. He's always just like, yeah, I'm not doing the movie, but I'm here. I'm behind the scenes.
Now, which mutant would y'all want to see first in the MCU? Besides, of course, the two that are technically there already. but from the Fox mutants.
I think a new Wolverine would be good. I know everybody wants Jackman to come back and make a cameo, which they can technically do if they did Secret Wars. But
True.
I think it's time for us to move on and get a new Wolverine. Just like with the whole Batman thing, like you need a palate cleansing, and that would be the perfect way to introduce a new character. People get hyped about it, especially if they get the casting right. There's a lot of fan casting out there that people want. So
I'm gonna still say it should have been Tom Hardy from the get-go. Should have been Tom Hardy.
Yeah, he would have been a good one.
He's all right. He's all right as Venom, but he would have made a better Wolverine, except for his voice. He kills me. He's like Tyson, big and bad, and had that little voice.
Yeah.
And you're like, who are you talking to like that?
And they always put him behind a mask. They never let the guy just act.
True. Sean, who do you want to see?
I've been a Wolverine fan. I told you my two favorite superheroes are Batman and Wolverine.
So that's who you first want to see introduced?
I want to see, maybe not first, but that's the one I'd be the most most indebted, like the most. That's the one that's most important to me because I was a Wolverine fan. If there was a comic book and it had Wolverine in it, I would read it. Or if there was a show Wolverine was in it, I would read it. So when I think like Secret Wars and Civil War, I look for where Wolverine was in all this. And in my opinion, even when he played a small part, it was a big enough part. And so he's always there. So the fact that you can have all the rest of this happening without a Wolverine makes no sense to me. So I feel like as important a character as he is, you have to bring him out now. Like you have to start introducing him now, so that when this other shit happens, you already have your Wolverine built up. We're already used to seeing him. The first Wolverine we see coming out since Hugh Jackman, we're all gonna feel some type of way.
Everybody will have an opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's gonna feel some type
of way. Oh shit!
That's why the casting has to be perfect. Yeah.
That to me is the most important one that you really cannot fuck up because there's so many storylines involved. You can't really do it like Batman. You can't say we're just gonna do 3 more Wolverine movies. No, you're putting him part of this universe. So you have to plan ahead and make sure you pick the right fucking person. Which is why I'm sure they're kind of hesitant on doing it because even though it took a minute for us all to kind of get used to Hugh Jackman in that first movie, you were like, all right, cool, that's Wolverine. But there was nothing to compare him to outside of the cartoon.
True.
Well, actually, I remember in that first one, this was before social media, but there were still, amongst your fan circles and stuff like that, nobody wanted that. Nobody wanted Hugh Jackman because Wolverine in the comics is like 5'8", stocky.
Well, that was the only thing that we had an issue with. Yeah.
That was the whole thing people had an issue with.
But he pulled it off. But like I said, it's because there was nothing to compare him to outside the comic books and the cartoon. So it's hard to replace somebody who not only did it first, but has done it longer than any other character. Yeah.
Yep.
Like he's played, doesn't he have the record for playing the same superhero in a movie longer than anybody else? So that's gonna be hard as shit to replace. So that's the one I'm most curious about. Like, how do you replace fucking that guy? Because if it doesn't work out, you can't just start over.
Yeah, no, not the same.
Incredible Hulk
which is why Marvel's going to get it right because that's what they do. Granted, can someone say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore? Marvel's going to be like, okay, we have to figure it out, and they will. But Wolverine is great. I'm not going to say him as my first. I'll tell you why in just a second. But what I would like to see for Wolverine is when he comes in, I would like to see him introduced in a Captain America film because he's so old. They have stories of him being in the military with Cap. They also have stories of Punisher being in with Cap, which is just stupid because I'm like, okay, that's a way different era. But anyway, so I would love to see them kind of like cross paths in the field because Wolverine's a killer and Cap's only kills when he has to.
Right.
So I would love to see that because they've done that in the comics and it's been pretty great. Or Wolverine cross paths with Punisher. However, the first mutant I want to see is a bad guy. That would be dope, but I need some time with him because they need to make Fantastic Four right. Dr. Doom would be good for the Avengers though, but I want to see Magneto.
Okay, yeah.
And I would love to see the same guy play Magneto. I doubt they'll do it.
Michael Fassbender?
I loved him. I loved him as Magneto. I think he has the right feel for it. Like when he looks,
I love Fassbender.
Maybe not body wise, because comics, everybody's body is super built, including Magneto's. So, but his look, granted he doesn't have the long hair that sometimes he has, but he just has something about him in his face that I love. Plus, Magneto is a world breaker. People don't remember this. Magneto can break the world in half if he really wanted to. So the reason I want him also to come in, though, is because then he'd be like, oh, that's my daughter right there. You're a Scarlet Witch.
Right.
I want that connection. And Then I want them to find out what happened to Quicksilver, and he's like, "Oh, really? You let him die? You're all gonna die right now," and then he just goes to destroy them. So it's like I really want Magneto because I want a villain. I want a big villain to come in, and it could be a one-movie one. It doesn't have to be the setup to meet Magneto, but bringing in Magneto would then bring in the X-Men. It's just how that works. So and like they have to then get with Professor X and the X-Men cast. They don't really need to recast most of those guys. They can keep them, but they're probably not going to, unfortunately.
I wish they would, but they're not going to. Yeah, even though those movies, most of them suck. They when they were good, they were good because of those actors. Yeah.
The two things about Magneto. One is when they asked Kevin Feige about bringing the X-Men over, he said one, he's not in a hurry to bring over.
Yeah.
Is Magneto.
Yeah.
Because Magneto's probably one of the last ones. So
that's
I don't know
because Magneto is huge. Magneto is because especially since Marvel does a lot of the Ultimate stories for their movies. Magneto destroys the world in Ultimate Spider-Man or Ultimate Avengers, whatever the hell it is, Ultimatum, you know what I mean? So, and unfortunately that kills Spider-Man, which brings on Miles, though, which I'll take that. But, So he does that. That's why I'm thinking Magneto could be good, even if it's just for one. He's like an Ultron type where he can take over the world and they can defeat him. But, I don't know.
I like the idea of Michael Fassbender doing it because the Magneto we all know, even though he's a ripped up dude, he has gray hair. He's old as shit.
He's
Michael
really old.
Fassbender doesn't even have gray. He could do Magneto if he wanted to for another 20 years.
Exactly.
And they don't have to recast Magneto. Exactly. We know him as Magneto. Mm-hmm. Let him do it. Ian McKellen was 100 when he played Magneto. So
now he's just 120.
Yeah, right? Now he's like
they had people moving his arms around for him. No.
Right? What are you looking for, Charles? Like, damn, man, sit your old ass down.
So okay, Shaun, you want to get into this already? Post after MCU, the other.
I was just going to say before we move on that I think the coolest way to do it, especially with Scarlet Witch, would be to do the House of M storyline. But I know that's just fan. That's just the fan of me asking for it. But
to do that, you need to have mutants. They don't even have mutants yet. So you need her to be able to say no more mutants.
Right, no more mutants. She actually did it in an interview one time. She actually held up the comic and said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah! I would love that. People don't know. Scarlet Witch can change the universe. They don't know, Or you bring in what the hell is his name? Legion.
Oh, the guy from okay. Yeah.
Anyway, but that's going ahead.
Yeah.
Were you about to ask me about Spider-Man, or were you about to ask me about something else? What were you asking about?
No, since we were staying in movies. The question I have for Erik here.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Erik, do you have the notes?
I don't.
Okay, good. I like that. So, in your podcast, you were talking about you were eating crow because of the Justice League
the Snyder cut. Yes.
Now, here's the thing. I have not been hyped for the Snyder cut. I could really care less because I actually find now we're going to DCU. If y'all don't know, if y'all didn't catch on, keep up. So, apparently, it's a whole.
I got my ring. We're good to go.
There you go. Oh, where's mine? I got a few rings around here. I got my Green Lantern ring somewhere. Anyway, so you're saying you're eating crow, and I get that. Now, what do you know about the movie? Apparently, it's going to be very different, like a whole different type of story.
It's going to be a whole different.
I didn't know that so much was so different. Again, I wasn't paying attention because they messed up everything when it came to Justice League. So all I told myself was like, you know what? I'm just going to watch the movie. And if it entertains me, it entertains me. I'm not going to even read up about it.
Right.
Unfortunately, it actually does entertain me. It's not great.
Yeah.
But I was happy with what I saw, except for Digital Superman. That was just stupid.
The baby lips, Mr. Baby Lips.
So I know you're not excited for it. But what are some of the differences that you've heard about? Like what is it? I know there's darker. I get that.
Yeah, well, it's Snyder, so he's gonna do his Snyder thing, and if you know Zack Snyder, he makes everything sepia tone and dark. And
true.
If you've seen 300, then you know what Zack Snyder does.
Of course.
But I mean, my favorite quote coming out of it, like I said in the podcast, was when people asked him about if he was gonna reuse anything from the Whedon version. He said he'd rather light his movie on fire than use anything from that version. So I was like, all right, I see you. Yeah, don't hold back, Zach. Just tell us how you really feel, bud.
Mr. Whedon.
So I'm pretty excited to see what the difference is, but I'm like you. The comments that you made though, when it was like all these different versions. You guys talked about Blade Runner, so I have the Blade Runner director's cut on DVD,
right.
And then I actually never opened it because I had moved at the time. It's in some box somewhere.
Right.
And then I saw Blade Runner Final Cut.
The ultimate. Oh yeah, right.
No, Final Cut in
Final
theaters.
Cut.
And I really liked it. So I don't know the differences, but why is that stuff not just for the DVD only? I don't need to have 1,000 cuts of everything.
I don't know. It's directors' egos, I think, is one of the things we were talking about. Like, there's certain directors out there who are auteurs, like you know, Ridley Scott and people like that.
I get that.
That think that the studio interfered in their version of what their vision of what they thought they wanted to do, and so they want to put their own thing out there and be like, well, this is what I want to do, even though this is what they showed you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because they're, you know, it's ego. It's Hollywood. It's if you don't have an ego as a director in Hollywood, I mean, that's what are you?
What sucks about that though is it does, like you also said, that it gets to a point where you can only find like one cut, and it's usually the final one. Kind of like with Star Wars, you will never find a Star Wars.
You'll
version
never find the
sold
originals.
Today.
Yeah,
that's like the originals, unless you just own those.
Which is funny. I actually own a copy of them, but I can't play them because they're on Laserdisc. I don't have a Laserdisc player. But I found them. I found them one day at a weird flea market. Like they were just sitting there, and I was like, "Are these the original Laserdisc?" And I look at it, and it was like, "Yeah, 1993." Nice. Like, well, I'm gonna buy these. I don't know if I'll ever be able to watch them, but I'm gonna buy them.
You got them. So what about you? Do you like any director's cuts?
Here's the problem I have with that. I understand it when you think about every director wants the freedom that like a Quentin Tarantino has, or that a Martin Scorsese has.
Right.
So you have a vision for a project, and you shoot your vision, however many months, weeks, years it takes to shoot it. But then when you make this project for a studio, and the studio's like, take that out, take that out, take that out, and then they put out a partial version of your vision.
Right.
You still want people to know, look, I'm good at what I did. That's not what I did. That's not my version. It's like having a song where Kanye's like, look, this is the beat I made. This is the beat they put out. So I'm going to show you the beat I made. These directors sit around and look at these cuts like, man, this would have been a badass movie. And the minute they get the rights to do it, be like, this is what I did. That's the trash you saw. This is what I did. So I understand director. I think every director should have. I don't think a director should have to have a director's cut. I think once you sign a contract with the studio and you guys are on the same page, you shouldn't have to have shit that wasn't allowed to be in there. Once they know who they're bringing on, they should be like, all right, we didn't expect this. We expected that. We gave you this much freedom. Here's this and that. I don't think there should be a director's cut ever. Quentin Tarantino doesn't really have director's cuts because he takes his movie, he does exactly what the fuck he wants to do with his movie, and he puts that out.
Christopher Nolan would be another example.
Whether they're 3 hours or 4 hours. I know, they just put it out.
Christopher Nolan, same thing. They're like, look, we know when we signed you, you were going to do some shit. Here's your shit. Do it. Every director wants that freedom. I feel like every director, once you get, I guess, a certain amount of clout under you, you should be able to put your. Zack Snyder has enough clout to where it shouldn't have to be a director's cut. It should just be, this was the movie.
Well, he had issues, though, because he left and he came back, so he had his issues.
It was a whole saga because of, so the way it was presented to us was that he had to leave because his daughter committed suicide. You know, it's a tough subject at the time. Yeah. But you find out later, after it all came out, is like they were actually trying to push him off of the project before that, and that was just a happy coincidence, if you want to call that, for the studios to say like, oh well, conspiracy. All right, Zach, go ahead and just step away, and we'll go.
Take all the time you need.
We've been actually trying to push you out the door for months now, but you know, so that was the sucky thing, and then everybody blames Whedon for what we got, but Joss Whedon was he just signed a contract with DC, and they were like, we have you here, why don't we just use you to finish this thing up? And Whedon said, I mean, I guess. Like, there's even funny, if you watch that, I think it's a very meta thing, and I don't know if a lot of people caught it. I definitely caught it. In the very beginning of that Justice League version, there's when they're doing a slow pan down the sidewalk, there's a homeless guy with a sign, and the sign says, I did my best. And I think that is it is a very meta thing that Joss Whedon put directly in the beginning of that movie to say, like, I know you're probably not going to like this, but I tried.
Right. Also, it's not mine, so I'm taking on somebody else's stuff, which is hard to do as a director to come in. Like, I know it happened with the guy who did Rocket Man, was supposed to do Bohemian Rhapsody, only did part of it, so somebody came. Like, it's done by two different directors, so you don't get that person's full vision, which I don't like when studios do that. But that, to me, is the only reason why you should have a director's cut, is when it was done by a different person. Right. But if one person did the whole film, that same person should not have to have a director's cut. It's the same fucking guy. Let him do his vision, put it out. If it's trash, don't hire him anymore.
Give me the deleted scenes and the DVD, all that stuff. See, I didn't even know all the details until I watched your podcast about the Zack Snyder versus Joss Whedon. I didn't even know Joss Whedon is the one who did that Justice League version.
Yep.
You hear about
All
the
I know is
Marvel
when I
Fam?
saw it,
Did get it from Marvel? He made Superman's face fucked up as a Marvel.
People said he went in and sabotaged it. I love that. I love the conspiracy theories.
because again, I watched it and I didn't see it in theaters. I don't think I did. I avoided it in theaters. So when it came out, I was like, you know what? This isn't so bad, except for Superman. So I'll take it. And even I told my friend, he's like, don't tell me you liked it. I will slap you right now if you tell me you like that movie. I was like, yo, man, I can't say I hated it, because the crazy thing is, I was telling him, with the way DCU was going for a second there, I thought Justice League was going to blow it out the water. I thought Justice League was going to destroy MCU for life. And I was like, I don't know what they did with that. Like they didn't even show up to the party.
No, they didn't. Yeah. You know, and it sucks too, because I don't even know. Well, actually, now that I think about it, we are going to get, like, one of the end tag was cool. Like the Legion of Doom little end tag was pretty cool. And I'm sorry, but that was a perfect fan casting for me. Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke. That was so cool. I was like, bro, if to see that Deathstroke versus like a Batman, dude, I want that movie. Like,
there you go.
But yeah, no, the whole the Justice League thing, the saga is really interesting. So yeah, the reason I've said 8 crows, because for the whole petition online released the Snyder Cut was this whole thing amongst fans, and I've been public online before this whole thing happened. I'm like, look, because people. I think everybody was right, because everybody was like, "Oh, you're an idiot now." See, haha, we were all right. And I'm like, "No, you don't understand." Everybody thought that this version was just lying around somewhere, like in DC's backyard in their garage. Like they were like, "You have it, release it, it's there." I kept telling people, like, no, what they have is an assembly. If you know movie making terms, like it's just a bunch of shots without VFX, that very poor lighting. They're just test shots lying around somewhere. And in order to make that happen, they would literally have to shoot the movie. No, bro, you're wrong. Like, no, this is what it is. So stop asking to release the Snyder Cut. And then it happened. And I'm like, God damn it. But the devils are in the details. You see in that the statement, yeah, no, this isn't just we're releasing this. We're giving Zach another $30 million on top of what we already spent to make in this other movie to make an essentially new movie.
Yes.
They're bringing all the actors back to reshoot lines and voice lines and do scenes. Everything's new. It's going to be a whole new movie. So that's the whole thing.
I like the dark path that they were on, because I loved the dark Superman, or the idea.
A lot of people love that
from Man of Steel, and I've been sad to this day. I'm like, where's my second Man of Steel? What the hell? Zod's gone now. You know, you bring freaking.
I want Brainiac. That would be cool. That would be a
Brainiac. You know, Dark Side already came. It's like, or he's coming. Like, I don't know. It's DCU is in such disarray. I don't know what the hell they're going to be able to do to save themselves, because they're so far behind the curve when it comes to them versus MCU. It's not even a conversation anymore. In the comics, it still is, because they're still putting out great comics. In the movie world, it's not even a conversation. Like, why bother bringing them up? We don't have a Flash movie. Aquaman 2 is going to take forever. Wonder Woman's delayed till whenever now. I don't know.
Next year.
Superman. Batman is Patterson.
Pattinson, yeah. So
Pattinson.
I actually think what they did in the beginning was obviously stupid, because in the beginning when they first started doing these things, they tried to play catch up with Marvel in a big bad way, because Marvel was already into phase 2 of their 4-phase saga, right? Yeah. And they were like, we got to get started. All right, what are we going to start with? All right, we're going to start with Man of Steel, and then we're going to go right to Batman v Superman. You're like, wait, I'm not ready for this. What do you mean? You're giving me a new Batman, new Superman? Stop.
Sean really likes the Batfleck, if I'm correct, right?
No, but he was good.
Yeah,
but
I
like they just shoved it in everybody's face quickly, and they were like, "Come on, guys, get on board." And we were like, maybe can you give us no time? I don't know these characters. You're shoving them down my throat. You're giving us Batman, Superman, which should be a 10-year arc. Are you freaking nuts? Like, you don't deserve that. Like, that was not earned, in my opinion, at all.
No.
And then you're gonna give us, you're gonna mash in like a what came before Justice League Wonder Woman, which was great. I liked Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And then Justice League. But I think that was the wrong way, dude. I think the way they're doing it now, which is they're just doing stories like Shazam. Yeah. I like Shazam for what it was. I thought it was great. Fun. Aquaman was crazy stupid, but it was fun. Like, it was the dumbest movie I'd ever seen, but it was fun. It was fun. It was a fun movie to watch. Like, the undersea battle with the freaking crabs fighting the sharks
Yo,
was
that
ridiculous.
Was the best part.
The best part was when you're in the, I think it was the middle of the movie when the, Aquaman's fighting his brother, and then like all of a sudden they pan down, you see an octopus playing the drums. I'm like, is this a Disney movie? Are we in the Little Mermaid right now? That movie was batshit crazy, but I loved it. It was funny.
It was
So I
definitely
think
entertaining.
I think if they do keep doing things like that, little like here, this director, you know, they did the Marvel thing, like here, you know, who did Aquaman? The guy who did all the Fast and Furious movies, right?
Yeah.
They're like, here, do whatever you want with Aquaman. He's like, all right.
Yeah. James Wan was good. James Wan.
And then they gave the guy that did Annabelle Shazam, and they said, do whatever you want. He said, all right. You know, and it turned out great. I like both of them for what they were, two separate things.
Yeah.
I think if they keep going down that path, instead of the shove everything in our face, we have to make a universe type of thing, then I think that's the way to go. Build every character up individually. Take your time. You don't have to play catch up. You're Warner Brothers, for God's sakes. Like, you don't need the money. Just play. Just have your vision. Let it come together organically, and give us a big, you know, Justice League style payoff at the end in 10 years. That's the way to do it, in my opinion. I think that would have worked perfectly. You mentioned earlier Sony fucking with Spider-Man. I want to get into something real quick before we get out of here. I had a Sony fucking with Spider-Man thing that's going to happen to us. Now, I have a PlayStation and an Xbox. Oh, God.
Yes. And so I saw they're
What do
putting
you got, Eric?
I have a PC.
Oh.
No, I have an Xbox too, but mostly I game on my PC.
I saw that they're putting out, in next week or in 2 weeks, they're putting out the Marvel Avengers Online. And they've been working on it for a long time. It's supposed to be a huge game.
The beta's actually on right now, I think. I remember right.
Wait, how do you get to play the beta?
You have to pre-order it.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Right? I believe for whatever reason, Sony, being the pieces of shits that they are, decided that they wanted to have an exclusive to PlayStation only fucking Spider-Man. They take one of the biggest characters in MCU in the Marvel universe, and make him exclusive to PlayStation. The
biggest. He's still to this day the best-selling comic in Marvel's library. Yes.
Yeah.
How do you take the biggest and make him only on PlayStation because it's Sony and it's their whole fucking deal? So if you have a PC, if you have an Xbox, you can't play with Spider-Man. Right. And the response they gave was, maybe you should buy a PlayStation.
Yeah, they're douchebags. This is why I'll never buy a PlayStation again, ever.
Has Spider-Man been on another platform before?
Yeah, before Sony bought the rights, yeah.
Yeah, because we played, remember, Spider-Man was on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. Like, Spider-Man,
yeah, but we had it on PlayStation.
And Xbox. Like, Spider-Man's been everywhere.
Yeah, no, that Spider-Man 2 game, if I remember right, was everywhere too. That was on Xbox 360 as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You're right, because the excuse I saw them give was bullshit. They're talking about, well, this Spider-Man for this Avengers game, we only have certain rights because of the game maker. That game maker only has Spider-Man a certain way. It was a whacked out excuse.
Crystal Dynamics, no.
Sony Marvel
making up shit.
Yeah, it's the bullshit Sony Marvel deal, and they're like, well, you know, as Sony, we do have the PlayStation. So they couldn't pick like Hawkeye or somebody like that. They'd be like,
of course they couldn't. Of course they couldn't.
This is the thing that bothered me, and they better fucking change it, because I mean, if you create a game like that online, if there's a platform that shows, or there's a what do you call it? There's a model of what you can do with one game and make it stretch out over years, it's Grand Theft Auto. There's a Grand Theft Auto 5 update every fucking 4 months.
It's a game that won't die.
Dude, it came out like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So if you plan to do that, that's fine. However, I think they should go the Soul Calibur route. Remember when Soul Calibur would put the game out on multiple systems and have a different star for each system?
Yeah.
So if you played Xbox, you could play with Vader. If you played PlayStation, you could play with Predator. Shit like that. I don't see why Marvel wouldn't do that. Don't take your biggest star and limit him to one system. Take like 3 of them and spread them out over different systems. That makes sense.
It's because of the stupid rights that they sold to Sony years ago when they were bankrupt, and they can't get it back now. And they've been trying for years, but Sony won't budge. And that's we saw this whole saga with the Tom Holland thing last year.
Yeah. It annoys the shit out of me.
Sony will never give up Spider-Man.
No,
unless they absolutely have.
Unless they go bankrupt. Yeah.
That just means they have to crash, because Spider-Man makes them more money than almost anything they have.
Yep.
So
including the punk ass PlayStation. Listen, man, don't be taking the best star and just putting them on one system. You selfish. Fuck.
This is the thing that I've said about PlayStation for years, and I think the internet was very, because when all this happened, I was reading comments on like posts and saying like, all right, let me see what people are really thinking about this. And there was even people that were like, I own a PlayStation, and I think this is hostile towards gamers. And I said, yes, this is literally being hostile toward your consumers.
Absolutely.
Like, what are you doing? This was the whole thing. Sony was the last holdout when 2 years ago, when everybody wanted to start doing crossplay, and Fortnite was the first game that made crossplay a thing. And then Call of Duty's got it now. Almost everybody's got it now. Apex is going to get it in the fall. But Sony was the last holdout because everybody was like, why isn't this happening? And Epic, who makes Fortnite, was actually, they're like, well, everybody actually is on board except Sony. And then Sony got fucking bad. They were like, well, don't put this on us. It's just because you have a better experience playing on a PlayStation, so we want people to play on PlayStation. And everybody roasted them. They were just, so they had to cave in, and they eventually caved in, and now we get the cross-platform. So I'm wondering if it's going to be a similar thing where the internet's just going to fucking shit on Sony so much over this that they'll just say fine or whatever.
I mean, you can't take the big one. Like, I get it if it, like I said, if it was one of the Avengers or something like that. But you're talking about, I get Sony they already have the Spider-Man game, which we're going to talk about for a little bit, with Miles Morales coming on their release. They're already going to dominate in that aspect. But in a group game, Avengers Online, as in like more than just your fucking platform.
Which, to you, what you were saying, they actually are trying. I'm pretty sure what they want it to be is like a Destiny 2. I don't know if you guys ever played Destiny, but I'm pretty sure they want it to be like a Destiny, where it's got a central core narrative, but over years you're going to get chapters released, and it's going to grow bigger and bigger and bigger, kind of thing. So it never loses content.
Like that sounds pretty cool. And from what I've seen for the Avengers movie, I'm not sure how I feel about the look of the characters, but I hear the gameplay is nice. I need like a team play game, because I think my wife will play, because I hear it plays a little bit like Ultimate Alliance, but also from what I understand is each player plays differently. Like the review I read was really interesting. It said it seems like each player is part of a different game. Mm-hmm. So Hawkeye plays more like, say, from God of War. Captain America plays more like from Solid Snake type shit, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, so and the way they feel and the way they move is all different. So then the key of throwing Spider-Man in there is he's the free for all guy.
Right. He's the mobility guy.
Style, but then you're going to limit it. So I don't mind. And I kind of laughed because I was like, well, I have a PlayStation.
Yeah.
I've only ever bought PlayStation since PlayStation 2. So, but I would be pissed off too, because say I had an Xbox, like, wait, I can't play my favorite game, my favorite player. I'd have to go buy a damn PlayStation. Or games like that.
PC players who have arguably better systems than anybody with the graphics and everything, they're not even going to get to play Spider-Man, even though they're going to have the best experience visually. But it's like,
you just cut out 2/3 of your fan base by limiting it to one.
Yes, but you know that's what I mean. It's consumer hostile. That's what I'm saying.
But you know what though, it is hostile. But you got to understand. Yeah, think about it. Sony's always been like that.
I know.
I mean, from way back at PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1, I don't remember a whole lot of. I played it a lot, but never really paid attention. But the news since PlayStation 2, Shaun remembers, we were in line for 12 hours overnight at Best Buy. So, like, we have stayed in, like, the game mode this whole time. They were always hostile towards the fans. You never get shit when you want it. You never get it how you want it. There's exclusive players here, there. You don't get it this. Anyway, so I kind of get that, and it is pretty messed up. I don't know where they're going to go from that. But I got to say, and you brought this up in your podcast, and I thought about it even before your podcast. I was thinking, this is kind of nuts the way this world is going. The social media shit, it's got influence. When you have millions, hundreds of millions of people saying, yo, fuck PlayStation, Sony listens. You know what I mean? Activision listens, or whoever.
Mob mentality. Yeah.
Who made this game? I forget who.
Crystal Dynamics.
Crystal Dynamics. They're going to listen. Somebody's going to bend, and it ain't going to be the fans, because they're just going to keep coming. Or the game's going to get to a point where it's old and people don't care anymore because they're on to the next thing. So it's just, I don't know what would happen, but I get to play right away.
That's the problem I was having, is like I said, I have both. And so I think the people I would play with are on Xbox, but if you get it on PlayStation, like, then it's like, I know 2 or 3 people I can play with on PlayStation, 30 people I can play with on Xbox. So it still limits that part, and it sucks. If I get it, I will probably get it on PlayStation. I'm not even that big of a Spider-Man fan. It just seems like some dope shit. But the fact that the guy who made it was like, trust us, There's so much going on and so many characters.
No
You
one's
won't
gonna care.
even miss Spider-Man. Shut
Yeah.
the fuck up.
Yeah.
That's like saying our Justice League game is so great, you won't notice you're not playing with Superman. No, motherfucker, you notice.
So can I actually, before we end on this or stop with this, I think it would be hilarious since you just mentioned Superman. Rocksteady just announced that they're doing the people that did the Batman Arkham games. They just announced that they're doing a Suicide Squad with Superman in it.
I thought you didn't give him the notes.
No, I just it's natural transition. Segue. No, I thought I think it would be hilarious because they're announcing this at the DC Fandom, another little virtual convention later in August. I think it'd be hilarious because not a lot of people know this, but Rocksteady is owned by Microsoft now. They bought them years ago. So I think it would be hilarious if all of a sudden they announce this game and then they go, Xbox only.
Right?
Yeah. I might have to get Xbox.
I think that would be hilarious slap in the face to be like, all right, you want to play this game, so will we. Like,
and Microsoft is all about that. They would love to do that.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's funny that you bring that up because that's actually the very next note we had. So here's something that someone brought up though. So I don't know if Shaun, have you seen it? Have you seen the picture of it yet?
Of what?
Suicide Squad. So the teaser poster for this game from Rockstar is there's a target on Superman's head, and it says Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
So someone brought up, what if that's Bizarro?
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, nice little take. Bizarro's always fun. But I mentioned when I first saw the post, I was like, yes, I would love to slap up Superman. I've been waiting for years.
Goddamn Boy Scout.
I've loved watching his cartoons, the movies. You know, Christopher Reeves back in the day to whatever that big meat pack guy is in the next Man of Steel.
The fucking
Cavill.
Love Henry Cavill.
You know, I love the cartoons. I've read a ton of the comics, but damn, there's just something about him. I just want to slap him. Like just be bad. And that's because I'm a bad guy now. Like as growing up, like, oh, you kind of root for the good guy. I never really liked the bad guy. No. Now I'm just a bad guy. Like just be a bad guy. Like in the fighting game. The fighting game that I barely played because I really suck at it.
Injustice?
The Batman one. Injustice League. Yeah, Injustice. And like I love it. He like terrorizes Earth. I'm like, yes, I need to see this kind of story. That's because I'm just like that kind of horror movie fanatic type person. But I'm like, yes, I get to target Superman. I get to go after Superman. Granted, how the hell is the Suicide Squad going to beat him? But I don't know. They're a bunch of punks.
We'll find out. But I think it's either gonna like be Bizarro, or I think they could do a storyline. I think one of the storylines where Superman's actually being mind controlled.
Okay.
And I think that's maybe the Suicide Squad's like their last option because Superman has taken everyone else out or something. I don't know. I think it'd be crazy. Yeah.
You know what's cool about it? If it does go Microsoft only, that means you play it on PC, right? Because Microsoft just released a PC. See, so they could play these games for the rest of our lives. Yeah. I'll tell you right now, if they get that Suicide Squad, Shaun, I'm coming over. so, you know, COVID or not, I'm going to be masked up with gas mask playing Suicide Squad. Shit.
Either way, it should be dope. We are going to get up out of here. We want to thank Erik Lucas for jumping in and joining us.
Oh, thank you.
We appreciate you, buddy. If you haven't checked it out, go check out That Geek Show. What's the website? Go ahead and promote it. Put it out there.
We don't have a website right now, but it's just podcasts anywhere you can find podcasts. That Geek Show on all of the podcast providers, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, all that stuff. Same as you guys. Anywhere you can find these guys' podcasts, you can find our podcasts. So.
True.
And then we have the YouTube channel as well. So if you want to see the visual version of it where everybody looks awkward at each other and because we're all on Skype and we never know when to talk. And it's all these long, awkward pauses that Shaun hates.
Hey, what's up with Gio? What's up with Gio?
And Gio, who doesn't have a camera, so I have to use his avatar.
Oh, that's why. He doesn't have a camera.
Okay, got it.
I was like,
yeah.
what's up with that?
I keep telling him to buy one, but yeah, so appreciate you guys.
Well, they sold out during the virus height, so who knows what's going on now.
You couldn't buy one to save your life.
Just like crazy. You can't find a printer right now. All the printers are gone because the manufacturers stopped making them at the warehouse.
Yeah.
Like, oh damn.
Go to any store and try to buy a printer. They'll laugh at you.
Yeah.
Silly. You're not gonna fucking get one.
I'm actually lucky I built my PC right before the pandemic. I built mine in February because I didn't, nobody knew it was coming, but I was just like, all right, I'm finally gonna build this thing. And then Micro Center, the place where you get all the parts, or in Fry's, as soon as the pandemic started, they were lines out the doors. Like you couldn't get into those places.
Damn.
And everything was sold out for weeks. You couldn't buy because everybody was building a PC because they wanted to either game or they wanted to podcast or video Skype or whatever. So
it was just you and fucking The Witcher, Henry Cavill out here building PCs.
What we should have done, we should have made a road trip to Florida because they were still open.
Yeah, you're right.
Right, but the downside is you got to go to fucking Florida.
Exactly.
Right. We're gonna get up out of here. Until next time, I'm Shaun Q. Be smart. What is your name?
Roman.
God.
I usually say, and my partner. So okay, J. Roman.
All right, keep it old school. God damn it. Peace.
Bye bye.